Hi, this is Andy Braitman again, and you may have noticed a change. It's just, I'm working with some particulate matter now, and I wanted you to see that and the safe way to work with it. So what I've got here is some mica. If you can see that, it's a beautiful surface. This is something called kyanite. Again, it's a beautiful surface. This will not get in the air. This is vermiculite. That's if you put in the garden. That will not get in the air. This is French talc. That will get in the air. And this is a raw umber. That's a powdered pigment. It will also get in the air. But since it's not going to get in the air that much, and we're doing this for video, I'm going to get rid of the mask. And we'll do it au naturel. So the first thing I'll do is heat the surface up again. And what I mentioned earlier was one of the advantages to this wax is it holding an aggregate. These are different aggregates. They could be colored like a pigment, or it could be just a surface. But what I'm interested in now is how that surface, how the aggregate will look on the painting. So I'll take an area and I'll take some wax, and I'll just pour it in just to an area. I'll keep it wet, and then I'll take some of the aggregate and just sort of sprinkle it across that area. And this will give me a surface and a texture. You don't see much, it just holds it. So it'll absorb the wax this way. The French talc has a different effect. It'll, again, stick to the wet area. You see where it blew away? Sorry. We're going to keep it that way. And then the vermiculite, I'll heat that up again. Again, gives me just another surface. And I'll blow the excess away. And where it's not blowing, the wax is holding it in place. I'm going to get that extra stuff away. There we go. So now I'm going to refuse this surface. I'm going to take some of the color. Hold on. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. Everything's pretty well joined. I'm looking to see how well joined everything is. This has got a little bit of a build-up problem, so I'm going to take this off. I'm going to turn it over into the wet vermiculite. Now the advantage to this is this natural look, and that's what I'm really trying to go for, is trying to get these areas of, in this case, I'll literally let this build up on this side, let that fill in the void there, come back across, lift this off, turn it back over again. So I'm looking for this it almost looks natural. It looks like it's been made by nature rather than by man. And if I can work an area that looks like that, I'm very excited about that. I'll let that start to cool off while I get some paint to accent the surface. So now I let that stay out of the soy wax, so it got a little hard, so I'm just re-emulsifying it. I'll pick up the color I want. This is going to be a lighter color, and I'm just going to come across this surface with some of that. This is that darker blue, probably an ultramarine. And I'm just going to let it blend in with these surfaces. Oop, that's not emulsified anyway, so I have to be careful there. Okay, then I'll take the heat gun again, stick this back in the wax. Let me clean off my knives because I'll be using the tips of those. So I'll probably reheat them. And there's actually an iron you can use that does the same thing. We don't have one here, but it's like a painting tool that'll let you, instead of having for me to heat up the tool manually, it'll keep it electrically warm. And that's a really cool device to use that lets you manipulate the surface. So I've got my tools clean. I'll get my gun back out. This is a nice little gun. It's a lot easier to use than that big heavy one I've got, and it's got a nice little kickstand so it won't burn anything up. I'll turn it on. Now all of that powdered material is infused in wax, so it's not going to go anywhere. All I'm doing now is melting it into the surface so it stays believable. And that's what I'm looking for. I want to let that melt, and I'm moving it around to make sure it's got these beautiful surfaces. They're natural. And I'm looking for areas where it may not be fused. And I'm using it the same way a dentist would use a tool to see it, just to touch it, to see if there's any space underneath. So there's some space underneath that. You see how it lifted up? I'll move this across. I'll put a material into that I like the look of. It's going to heat up and blow away, but it's not like a powdered material that will get in the air. And then I'll heat this and put it back in, let the wax hold it. That's that vermiculite. It's the same stuff you'd use in your garden. I'm going to keep moving it in and out so it gives that real natural look rather than something man-made. And I'm moving the gun away so it cools and doesn't blow. Look, that's gorgeous right there. This looks a little muddy to me, so I'll see what happens if I emulsify it. Oh, that's got some nice stuff underneath it, so I'll be able to work with that. That looks pretty. That looks gorgeous. This looks very watery. That looks a little abrupt, but I'll play with that a bit. Look around the periphery. Okay, things look really good. I'll let this set aside, but let me just cut into this once so you can see what I am eager about. So I can slice into this, lift that piece right out. And I can then take that piece, put this on its kickstand, take my other tool. I can take that and stick it in an area I'm not crazy about. See what's on the back? It's just wax. See what's on the front? Let's just set it right adjacent to this. Right in that little area there. Okay, now this area is just, that's right back down to that gesso again. So what I may do is take some of my, take a brush, take some of the liquid encaustic medium and just slip it into that spot. See if I can get a brush that'll hold a little more liquid. Just slip it right into that spot. Take a material I haven't used. This is that mica. That's the talc. Oh, here's the mica. This is beautiful. Now that's going to blow away as soon as I turn this in. So I'm going to try to just sort of spread it manually so it doesn't blow. Then I'm going to heat the area around it before I blow it. So I'm going to heat it in this direction. I'll use that to emulsify that last piece I put in, and then I'll slightly blow it this way. I'll take a little bit of time and let's see what happens if I take a little bit of pigment and drop that in. All right. Now I'm going to heat this up, make sure it's all fused. We'll let it cool off a little bit, and then I can paint right on top of it with straight oil paint or with the encaustic. And what I'm doing now is just going over the whole area to make sure that it's all heated and fused together. And it's just a light passage. What I'm looking for is the difference. You can see here it's flat. I'm going to see it, as soon as it starts to sparkle, I know it's liquid and it's fused. So I'm just going over the whole piece, looking for flat areas and making sure that everything has been fused together. And I'll cut this off, put it on its kickstand. We'll take a break. I'll mix up some more paints to put on top of this. You'll see that process, but this is a good stopping point. And we'll take a break.